Whistler Sliding Centre, the venue for the 2010 Winter Olympic Games, is the fastest track on the planet, and it's where we have the season opener for the BMW IBSF World Cup in men's skeleton. Good morning, welcome to a crisp and clear day in beautiful British Columbia as we get ready for the first of our 2 runs to start the season for the men's skeleton. I'm Martin Haven, alongside me John Morgan. And John, this cold and icy track is going to be a major challenge for our athletes this morning.
Well, we've had 2 races so far on this track built for the 2010 Winter Olympic Games, and wow, it is a challenge. It's the highest speed track on the planet, and we saw in the first 2 races, no matter who comes down the track, even the people winning, they have their moments at certain parts of it. I mean, the start, absolutely incredible, and oh, surprise, Tretiakov, the Russian Rocket's got the track record at the start, like he does in about 6 of them. Then you drop off here on curve 1, 7 stories, and like in bobsledding, skeleton, even though you're inches off the ice here, you have to let the sled accelerate into wedge. And watch how the head goes down. When that head's going, he's not taking that head down. A lot of times, the pressure in the curves is forcing that head down. But profile-wise, if you get in a straightaway, you want to put that head down, like right here. But then, of course, you're going 65 miles an hour. Links, couple 9-10 curve combinations. Now, this is where you start to shiver because you're going about 80 with your chin inches off the ice. Gold Rush, speeds approaching 86, 87 miles an hour. Look at the way the head gets buried there. That's the G-force, throwing it down in Thunderbird and through, down. Wow, what a challenge. What a facility for speed.
Brand new track record was set in our race in January here this year by Thomas Stukos, and that broke the previously existing Olympic record. Start record set on the 18th of February 2010 by Alexander Tretiakov, the man who used that start to win Olympic gold here. Well, he is in our field along with our reigning world champion Martin Stukos. Air temperature hovering around 0, ice -2. Yesterday evening it was damp, it was muggy and foggy and rainy and snowy.
Dicey.
This morning, much crisper, much faster. The harder the ice, as you can imagine from your own winter experiences, the faster you skid on it. And that's exactly what our athletes will face. We've got a very big field, 28 athletes, and a Mirambel of Spain, like compatriot Maria Montejano, will be the first off the hill. And look for some of the star names. Thomas Stukos, bronze medalist here in the race in January. His brother Martins won the race, one of 7 races that he won on the way to the World Cup crown. And he and Sumbin Korea, who took the silver medal here in January, will go off 12 and 13. Look too for Alexander Tretiakov. Nikita Tregibov, the other young Russian, will already have set a time. And we have 2 rookies in the field, Igor Veselov and Canada's Kevin Boyer, both making their World Cup debuts. First man on the ice is Ander Mirambel from Spain, the man from Barcelona, works for the Spanish Football Association during the off-season.
Ooh, crossover bad load. Well, that's going to make everybody scramble and start to look at those start grooves, because that was not a smooth exit. The way they cut those grooves up there has a lot of determination of the results of the race.
Well, they've turned around the way that they do the start draw. He normally is 15th, 20th off the hill, first up this morning, so he's going to have a very different experience.
I gotta believe this is a fast track. They spritzed it. Ooh, wrong side going into the 9-10.
His teammate Maria yesterday evening was saying that she was really shaking with nerves. Not only was she first off, it was her World Cup debut. She had no idea where to go or what to do.
Best finish of the year last year was at 18.
Lots of height. Oh, and a big drill on the wall out of 16 will have cost him time. 53.74, track record 52.11.
Well, that tells me you have a track record.
We might.
We could get,
Yep.
Anders the first one down, and he went way up there, but I think he's hurt.
Yep.
That was a shot, and that takes the wind out of you.
Off Thunderbird, particularly that last hit, really will knock the wind out.
Not what he wanted. You know, right off the. You know, this is the first 50 meters of the season for him, and he has his foot came way outside the line. He overloaded. Now look at the runners. He had some problems there at the start, but here at the finish, he disappears. When you disappear, then you this wall, bang.
Yeah.
That hurts. Anders, how are you, man? Hope you're feeling good.
33-year-old Ander Meyrambel gets things underway now. Alexander Auer from Austria. His brother Florian also slides. His father, a legend in sliding sports.
There was three of them, wasn't it? Two brothers?
Yeah, two brothers.
And it was the anniversary of when their father won the World Championships last year. When we were in Eagle, it was what a setting to have the father, a world champion, with his two kids competing in the World Championships. Tells you what type of family this sport is.
Yeah, Christian Auer tore his hamstring to pieces doing a Legends race during the World Championships. Apparently he's back, but Alex says he won't ski again. No fool like an old fool, eh?
You know, this kid finished 14th in this race last year, which was his personal best. Oh, he's in 6th. Remember, we saw the Belgian girl crash there last night. He was on the edge.
Big skid also down into 9 and 10. Listen to how quiet the sled is. You can hear that.
Hit there again, too. 50-50's late, but you know, Meyrambel's got him because of those couple mistakes he made when he came off the sled in 6. Got him by a lot. Watch him hit the wall. Bang! We're going to see some
There's be a lot of bruised shoulders
on that wall down there, so keep your eyes open for that.
And he comes up into the finish area.
Looks like he's in better shape than Meyrambel, though. No, maybe not.
I'm not sure he is.
Well, of course, the mishap up on the exit of 6. He was airborne and about to go off the sled. He's still happy. Thrill seeker.
Here's 6th.
Late. Watch this. This is how not to do it. At least remember last night. Look at him.
Yeah.
He recovered, though.
He just hung on to that.
There's no points for recovery, but if there were, that was a great recovery.
Next up is TJ Trey Jack Thomas from Great Britain. A plumber by trade.
Ooh, he's gone. That groove.
Yeah.
You know, that groove. Oh, and now his time is gone. Doesn't matter. Great start. 2100. It's all over. Speed. Check out the speed. Speed is the exit. You know, you can have a great start time. If you don't get on the sled, get around that first curve, your start speed will not be what you need.
Well, they will have sprayed that start area with water, refrozen everything, and recut the groove. It does look a little as though the groove needs recutting deeper.
Well, he's only 30 hundredths back for that.
Let's see if he can find something. All of these guys will be battling to get into our top 20 for the second heat, because we will send nearly a third of the athletes home after heat 1.
Speed, pretty good. You know, he's going 83 miles an hour, doesn't hit the wall, and finishes in 3rd. Wow. So that type of start.
No second heat for him, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Well,
unless
everybody else does the same thing. So his T-Tray, what's it called? T-Tray Thomas. Try and say that a few times.
Let's just call him Jack.
Jack.
A little bit disappointed after that. This
Good
is his
start.
second ever World Cup start.
Those grooves are not deep. So you're going to have some athletes saying, well, I'm not going to push as far, because we've seen 2 out of 3 sleds have issues with that on our left, their right start groove.
Yeah. British physio with the sled. Next up, Rhys Thornbury from New Zealand, 12th here last year. That was his best result of the season. His mum, Roz, has flown in from the Sultanate of Brunei to be here for the first time. His sister...
Oh, there's another groove!
But he was in the left-hand groove.
Those grooves aren't cut deep enough. I bet you they're going to have to do something.
So the right-hand groove and the left-hand groove have both spat out a slider.
They show us, I bet you there's some juries guys talking about things right now.
And you saw his coach up at the top, Martin Rettel, the most vociferous of all the coaches in making sure that the race is run correctly.
I'm sure that he's in somebody's ear right now.
Ooh, and again, flop off 6.
So our weapons specialist here, right?
Yep, slides for New Zealand, but lives in Bryce Norton in Oxfordshire. He is a weapons technician for the Royal Air Force. I would say thank you to everybody for giving him another winter on ice. 126, that's 78.7 miles an hour, 87.2 miles an hour.
One of the best speeds, but he had that mishap, and he's second. He hung in there. You know, if you can see this, Martin.
Well, Martin Reckel is turning into the de facto small nations coach, isn't he?
Well, you know, the former Olympic medalist, silver medalist at the 2002 Salt Lake Games, and he's coached a lot of countries. Very knowledgeable. Now watch the groove here. Look at, is the athlete causing it? No, I don't think the athlete's causing it. Those grooves just don't seem to be very deep. And you know, this is where you think you got a little cafeteria tray when you're looking at it, but it's about 60 pounds. And
it's a very small target when you're sprinting. Now, Ander Mirambel, who must have felt horrible about his run,
he's feeling good,
is still our leader, feeling just as sore, but less horrible. What about Kyle Chess of the USA, a software developer, one of the more experienced sliders?
Let's see what he does. Let's see how quiet he is in the groove. Well, he had no issues with the groove. Sun's coming out.
Well, and actually the speed, 476. I was wondering just how cautious he was being. He's carrying speed. Now, he should be our leader at the bottom.
Yeah, he had the second best start. And he was first immediately at the next clock because he was the cleanest on the exit of the start grooves.
Again, you can hear so much of what is going on from the sled. Kyle back in World Cup sliding.
Oh, was that rough?
2200s behind. I'm going to stop predicting now because everything I say is just jinxing our sliders. Right up in the woodwork at the end of the Thunderbird.
What a hit.
You heard the hit at the top of Thunderbird.
Wow. Ander Mirambel is going to make that second run, looks like to me now.
And Kyle Tress, 800s ahead of Rhys Thornberry of New Zealand.
Yeah, that wasn't a good run for Kyle Tress. He was loose in the middle part of the track. He was the leader until about curve 7-8, and then he had some issues. Watch how high he gets here. And this exit here, it goes way up in the outlet. And I mean, that's not what you want to do at 80+ miles an hour.
He didn't turn down there.
Yeah.
Gravity just dropped him off the wall. Well, we heard Ander Mirambel, our leader from Kyle Chess, we heard the bobsledders yesterday saying the ice was much softer than they'd expected. I think this morning is a little harder and faster maybe than some of the athletes expected. Start record 486, set in the Olympic Games by Alexander Tretyakov. That might be relevant as Nikita Tregibov, the new Russian rocket, gets ready to blast off. Will he get a clean run down the grooves? He does.
That says it all. I mean, he's the fastest guy in the competition.
Oh!
4:59.
48, that's 900s, 1100s off the start record, which is a 48.
And technically, he was perfect in the groove. So some people, obviously, maybe they're pushing too hard right to left or something to cause it.
And a little nerves, and they're not the most experienced starters. And
so I'm sure if there's any complaints from any of the teams, I'm sure the jury just pointed to this guy and go, look what he just did at the start, no problem.
Well, now the question is, was he starting at that speed in training, or was he a tenth of a second quicker in training? Was he actually taking it easy just to make sure he was safe?
Well, no matter what, he's got some great lines here.
Yes, he does.
This is the leader.
So
but he doesn't have
time on the track.
He's only 54. He might not even have that. Let's see. At 67. So he accelerated away. Well, we talked about the track record. Tretyakov, I think he's got 53.07.
A second away at the moment, bar a few hundreds from the track record.
I don't think we're going to see it. It's going to get warmer.
Yeah, I don't know, but it'll be a little less frosty in an hour or so. We might get something.
Yeah, look, does he went all the way up.
Yeah.
Is this a little strategy? Let's go way up. Let's delay a little bit. I don't know. There's a little, sometimes tricks of the trade that we apply to the sport, and him going way up gives an extra 30 seconds of preparation for the athlete coming after him, which...
And that is Barrett Martineau of Canada. Bear Martineau, 9th in last year's World Cup rankings, finished this race in 8th place. It was the best race of his season.
Ski jump guy.
There's the bear on his helmet. courtesy of his nickname. Well, 472 again, he was being very careful not to pop the groove at the start. Let's see what he's got down the track. Exodus 6, cleaner than a lot we've seen. You hear the little scrapey, scratching noises. That's adjustment of your line with dragging a toe.
Whoa.
Very few of those. 128.2, 79.7 miles an hour. Down at the bottom, head first, chin on the
Watch
ice.
out. Watch out here in the outlet.
88.5 miles an hour.
That wasn't that bad of a bump.
Right.
Second, good run for Barrett Martineau. He got beat by 13 hundredths at the start, and he only got beat by 37 at the bottom. So he outdrove the Russian because 13 should have been 39. He's only 37 behind. 8th in this event last year, so that was his best, personal best of the season. Look at this now, the crossover. Nice. That looks really perfect. Look at that. There's the take on of the curve, then the outlet of the curve. Take on was perfect. You want to get on the curve on your terms. If you come over there too early and you hit, it throws you in the middle of the curve, and then you have issues on the exit.
The Latvian Barmy Army are here in force, and that's because, of course, the Stukos brothers are here as well. This is Thomas Stukos, the older of the two, 35 years old. Second here last year, behind his brother Martins.
No problem with the groove could be getting deeper because we've got a number of sleds that have come down.
I think probably the first 5 athletes are not in the top 10 in the world, and that's possibly part of why
we have those problems
popping out. Yeah,
Martin, you're such an expert.
Well, having said that, you do see the very best occasionally pop the groove. It's like every other sport. When you are trying for 100th, for the ultimate effort, occasionally you over-egg it. Stukos still behind Nikita Tregobov, and a long way behind. At the moment, he is only in 4th position.
Barely ahead of Andrew Maribel, which would be a
behind Andrew Mirambel.
I don't think so
place
now.
at the line, third place.
Yeah, he showed his experience in the bottom, but hey, let's talk about Andrew Maribel. He's never been within 2/10 of Thomas Stukos.
Yeah.
So we're looking at personal best for him today.
He may not be feeling personal best after drilling the wall out of 16, but again, if he'd not hit the wall out of 16, he would have been a 10th closer, maybe 2.
Look at this exit a little late. Look at his foot come out, a little tap to steer. Now this is a big man. Watch how high he gets in here. This is
Didn't get
really way up too high. It's centrifugal force. What goes up must come down, and then you have to steer back up.
Yeah.
Loop. That's a loop.
That was in 7, Luder's loop.
The loop.
Dave Christian of Canada. Grizz, as he's known. Why do these Canadians have bear names, do you think? We've got Bear Martineau and we got Grizz Christian.
Look at that helmet.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Oh, he's foot tap.
Yeah.
468. Good start.
Well, Whistler last year, or rather in January this year, last season, represented his high spot of the season, 5th position. So Grizz knows how to slide this track. Former rugby player, he is big and strong and carries a lot of mass, and that helps for speed and control.
I would say he's probably the thickest guy in the field.
4400's back, currently in 3rd spot. Nikita Tregobov, the race leader from Barrett Martineau of Canada.
Pretty good lines there, very quiet.
He needs a great run through Thunderbird to get back in front of Thomas Stukos.
187.1 miles an hour.
Just gets away with a little touch on the wall. He is in front of Andrew Mirambel.
Still, Andrew Mirabel doesn't get that close to the Grizz. So Grizz is on his home track, but still 4th, good run. 3rd best start.
Well, the guys in 3rd and 4th at the moment were 2nd and 5th last year, but we've only had 9 of 28 sliders down. It might be ringing the
See how
changes.
big he is. Listen to the breathing. See, they're out of breath they are. Right?
Well, listen, we're like that walking up here. We're only 2,000 feet above sea level, not meters, but it still takes the wind out of yourselves.
It's not, you can't really breathe too much on the way down.
Yeah. Well, and it's the pressure in 16 as well. Germany's Axel Jung is next. Axel, 9th position here last year. And compared to the Canadians, less experienced. 30-second clock. And they get the sound to start. You have to cross the green line there. The timing beam is broken before it counts down to 0. 25-year-old from Oberhof, another former ski jumper like Barrett Martineau.
Good slider.
And he's so quiet. I mean, he's quiet off the sled, but look at him on the sled. He's doing that thing that all the best sliders do, where he just lies there and it all just happens. And of course, that's not the way it is. Because he's making the steer in the right place and not having to work to correct it. This is a good-looking run.
4th in the World Cup points last year, and he was on the podium 2 times.
This is a 2nd position run at the moment, still only 1400s behind Nikita Tregibov.
This is a pretty good run. This is going to be a top 2.
Could be within a 10th at the bottom. What's it like at the line?
Yeah.
1200s back.
That's great.
There we go. That's a good run from Axel Jung.
Germans, of course, did well last night. And,
2nd and 3rd in the women's skeleton. And they were just, 2nd, 3rd and 4th were covered by 300ths of a second.
Wow, that was unbelievable racing.
But our winner, 8400ths in front.
Yeah, she had
Lister
a little...
Face. Yeah.
Oh, look at that take on into the 50-50, and that throws him up here late, which means that he's got to, you know, the curve dictates to him on the exit. He's got to do a little steering to adjust to get over the next curve.
So Axel Jung in 2nd place as Matt Antoine comes to the ice, second of our US sliders, now lives in Phoenix, Arizona. Getting quite settled there. He said, every time I go home, it's like a holiday. Well, it is when you start on ice. He must be just about the tallest athlete on tour.
Had some injuries last year.
Yeah, he had that awful summer the year before, didn't he, where his sprinting form disappeared, but 471, it's a lot better, he says, this season.
You know, he likes, in his spare time, open wheel racing.
Yeah. Well,
this might have a little bit of correlation to it.
A lot.
Of course, when you're driving on those wheels, your eyes are you're a little bit more above the ground than you are here. Ooh, really high there. Watch the exit or the entrance there to 9:10 are pretty good.
Well, only 5th fastest start, but he's up to 3rd place on the split times. Another good-looking run by Matt Antoine.
Speed at the bottom. Going to need 140 kilometers down here. Motoring through the gold rush, 142 kilometers, 88.3 to the finish with the 3rd best time. 88.3,
Barrett Martineau, top speed in 16, 88.5 miles an hour. And he's in 4th, Matt Antoine in 3rd, 1700ths of a second cover the top 3, but he's thinking about that big high oscillation and cursing himself because he knows that probably cost him a 10th.
4th in this event last year, and he's in 4th or 3rd right now as we know it.
Let's see how high he climbs here. Gets on early and then is pushed
Sled
away.
Goes away.
Then
he goes down. Then he has to come back up in the outlet. So that wasn't the optimum line, but you know, top 3 at the moment.
Next up is our World Cup champion. Then the yellow vest is his from last year. He's also our world champion and last season's winner. He won here in January this year.
Where has he not won? 460.
Little wriggle there.
460. Okay. You know, he doesn't have the exact Russian start, but his entry under the sled, obviously better because he's in the green numbers now. You know, what do we start calling this guy? The professor? I mean, we ran out of names to describe
Superman
him.
works.
Superman,
He is the man of steel, isn't he?
I know, but it's unbelievable. He's
Here we go. Now then, what has Tregibov got at high speed on his Willy Snyder sled, and what has Martin Stukos got on his Stukos sled? This is 100th of a second difference between the two.
143 down here kilometers. Mike's Lockett, 142, 88.2. That good big hit.
But a big
right
hit.
to the 100th. Oh, wow.
That's a good run. First sub 53 second run we've seen.
Yeah, from the man, Superman, what do we want to call the guy? I mean, there's no person we've ever seen in our time that dominate one of the sliding sports like this guy. And calm demeanor.
And makes it look so easy. And
look at him, just let him get off the
secret.
sled. Look at him walk away. Hi everybody, how you doing? You know, oh, I just came down first again? Really? I bet you he's been first. I would say 80% of all of his heats.
You might well be right. Well, here's the man who
could change
was the only man to beat him last year at all, Yoon Sung-bin of Korea. He took the bronze medal here last year, but this is the Koreans' quote home track until Pyeongchang is fully functional.
Look at that, 4:58.
Fastest start to the field.
Hey, if you have the fastest time at the top of the track, you have the best opportunity for the best time at the bottom.
Take a look at his helmet as well. His comic book hero Iron Man represented on his helmet.
So the Russian rocket, Superman. Now we got the Iron Man coming down. Oh, those
200ths of a second in the lead is now 15.
Big mistake there, 9-10, and that straightaway got on the wrong side of the straightaway.
Will that cost him more than a tenth? No, 1900
big speed, wow, this is huge.
Comfortably the fastest speed we've seen, 88.5
heck him up there. Not the speed that Stukos had, though. Oh, sliding here at the finish. 6, he lost a lot of time at the bottom, but he is the leader.
We've got a race on our hands.
He had some height.
Covering the top two.
He only had 139 kilometers. He had 86.6. Stukos had 88.2. So that's where the minus 17 ended up minus 6. We lost a 10th down there with that skid in the bottom.
Yeah.
And then coming up the finish
and
line.
here, down into 9. Yeah, hits the wall out of 8.
Yeah. Well, watch this here, too. Watch the sled. You're coming uphill here, okay?
Yeah.
No, look at him skidding coming uphill. That's like throwing a parachute out. Not what you want to do when you're dealing with hundreds of seconds, but he is the leader. After all that critique we just threw down on him.
Second in last year's World Cup standings. And a medalist here. Next up, Don Parsons of Great Britain. Last year, his best in World Cup sliding. Finished 5th in the World Cup rankings. And he was in 6th position here in Whistler. He's a mechanical engineering student at Bristol University, working on new kinds of internal combustion engines. 476, that's another good start from him.
He's another tall guy.
Yep.
I don't know if he's as tall as Matt Antoine, but he's close. 3/10 back. So, look for the feet, look for the head coming down, staying down.
Well, all the boys were at the track yesterday watching a women's race, trying to just get a little bit more information, a bit more of a feel for the ice. All the girls are up at the top watching the men this morning. 4/10 back in 6th position, now up to 5th place on the splits.
He's got good form, good technique. Crossover, nice speed part of the trap, 142, great speed.
Coming, he's 4th.
Can he get up to finish? Yes, he does.
4th
nice.
place, that is a good run.
Hey, especially when you consider he had the 10th best start, 4th best downtime.
That was a good drive from Don Parsons.
Everybody in 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, all the way back, all had better starts than him. So Dominic Parsons showing he knows how to come down the fastest track on the planet with good speed.
He saw a big round of applause from his coach at the top. His girlfriend, Aussie Jackie Narracott, will be watching. Don Parsons lies 4th. Sung-bin Young of Korea is our race leader by a whisker. Top of the track for the Russian rocket, Alexander Tretyakov. His teammate Nikita Chegabov lies 3rd. Fast start so far is a 4:58 from leader Sung-bin Young of Korea. What can Tretyakov produce?
Oh, his toes out.
52.
His toe was out though, so the speed, 67.2. Wow, guess what? It's the best speed.
Yep, ties the best speed on the exit and is 0.06 of a second in front of Europe.
Should have been more than that, because that should have transferred into a 10 or 12 hundredths. That foot out cost him.
Not going as quickly as the top speed now.
Problems there too. Really rough transition, bounced off the sled. You know, he wins his races at the top of the track. Sometimes he doesn't get the good drives down, and this is it.
Fastest starter, he is now down to 4th on split times.
Watch out if he hits here.
1:41.6, he got out all right, but he was riding around 3rd place ahead of Nikita Tregebov. Well, that's part of the job done. He remains top Russian dog at the moment. Oh!
It's way up, but his mistake, when that foot came out up the top, that negated his great start. When you have a 0.06 advantage, you should have the next clock a 0.12 advantage, 0.10 advantage. He only had a 0.06 advantage, and it was here. Watch his foot come out. Okay, gets on, great, beautiful time, best going. Now watch him, see that little toe touch?
Yep.
That's
you can
why
see the short wall on his right there coming up on the left of your screen.
That cost him, because he should have been better. And then watch the transition here. Watch him almost come off the sled. This is a wrong way to exit the curve, and you're bouncing around. Look how high he comes up in the air, and that's aerodynamics at a high-speed part of the track. But he's in 3rd.
Well, next up is Nathan Crumpton from the USA, born in Nairobi, Kenya, and has lived all over the place. Childhood dream was to be a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. And on the helmet, great photo of himself.
Triple jumper. Pretty good season last year.
Yes, he did. It was his rookie season on the World Cup, and made a lot of ripples.
Another one of these Ivy League athletes from Princeton.
It's a good-looking slide as well. 7th at the start. He was up to 5th on the splits out of corner 4. Drifting away a little to 7th position. Matt Antoine, his teammate, is 7th now. Crumpton just drops behind him into 8th. The top 10 finish here would certainly be a good start to his season.
Have great speed here. Has to come up here cleanly. Hits a couple times.
And he'll drift along.
You know,
7th place in the January race here last season.
Yeah, he had a 5th in Park City, then a 7th.
Yep.
And so I don't think he'd be happy with that. And 7th best start time is impressive. Yep. Look at the helmet.
Yeah, he talks about being a triple jumper. He said that's the masochist sport. If you're going to do anything in track and field, it should be last on your list of choices. Plenty to think about.
Love listening to the breathing.
Matthias Guggenberger of Austria. Bumped into him yesterday, and again looking very happy, hale and hearty. 2 or 3 seasons of chronic back problems are now hopefully well behind him. He was 11th here in the January race at the end of last season. See if he can crack the top 10. Could be one of the big characters here. Best result of the season was 8th in Koenigsegg early in the year.
You know, his biggest obstacle is not coming down these tracks, it's just staying healthy. You know, he's had real health issues. You know, good starter, 7th best starter. On the 18th back, so the next clock, 24, 25 back is the norm.
Nice and quiet so far. Oh, a little high. And
that's going to cost him more. He's well over this curve now, so sideways scraping, 8/10 back. He just
7.
That was a half of a second mistake he just made there.
Yeah.
He's going to be lucky to be within a second here. Oh, look at this. This might be the worst run. He will not make the second run.
Yeah, down to 17th. And it all went wrong in corner 6. And I'm afraid so much time and speed scrubbed off there.
That's
54.77.
For this guy with this much experience.
He was only just outside the top 10 last year and will be likely outside the top 20.
11 in World Cup points last year. So for this run, I mean, he's... Listen,
oh, Googie.
He knows.
Yeah.
Not the way to start the season.
Well, 6, he didn't come off
Watch
late.
This. Look
he
at this
drove it off too early.
Then he hits her bang. You know,
and then 7, look at
now
this.
He's got to go to the middle of the curve. He can't get on where he wants to. Look at him steering there. Look at that. The whole sled is like just...
broadside. It's
around.
not a drift competition, but yeah. I'm afraid that was ugly, and that might be all we see of him. Welcome back to World Cup sliding for Alexander Gassner, the 27-year-old from Winterberg. Last World Cup race was January 2014, not January 2016, so he's been away 2 full seasons. He was the Europa Cup winner in 2008, Intercontinental Cup in 2011 on his trajectory up into World Cup, and then lost his form.
Good start,
yeah,
great,
very good start
for him. Yeah. Good exit one. So he stays within 2500s here.
Still only 27. Came in for the headshots.
14, that's good.
And I was saying, how are you? And he said, hey, you remember me? I haven't seen you for years. I said, yeah, I know, but 6th position off a 9th best start.
Intermediate time for Alexander Gassner, 3:47.31.
Tell you what, 5th position. This is why he's back in Germany's World Cup squad. It's not because they like him or he's a nice guy, or it's because he's quick again. Top 6 run.
4 times off the pace, exit corner 15, top speed.
All right, 7th position, little bit going away. No major errors. Maybe the runners are not quite what he needs for the temperature. But welcome back to the World Cup. 7th. Yeah, Jens Muller likes that.
That's great.
There you go. Yes. Look at that. You see?
He likes it.
He felt good.
It felt good.
Yes. There were no really big mistakes. Okay, maybe the runner rock, maybe the selection wasn't quite perfect for the ice, but it was a good return.
Germans are in 6th and 7th, and they're separated by 400ths of a second.
There you go. And Axel Jung is there de facto. What a great looking belly tray on this sled for Hiro Takahashi. Japanese built sled for the Japanese slider. Coach Koshi behind him.
Been around for a while.
Yeah, look at the helmet as well. That is a lot of work.
He's a big baseball fanatic. They play baseball in Japan.
It's Japan's biggest sport after sumo, yeah. It is absolutely huge. You think it's huge in Cuba, it is a huge sport in Japan.
There's a lot of great Japanese players now in the major leagues in the US.
Yeah. And soccer is fast following it as well. Lots of Japanese soccer players being exported around the globe. And with how much they play golf, you'd think that that would be a factor as well. Little left, dropping into 9. This is a 14th place run. We'll have 28 sliders, only 20 will go home. We'll go into heat 2 rather, so the higher up you are now, the better. He's ahead of Kyle Tress of the USA. And 14th place at the line for Hiro Takahashi. Yes, ahead of Kyle Tress. And Ander Mirambel of Spain, our first man down, still in 13th place.
He's going to
make the heat. And Hiro Takahashi likely will as well. He's the 19th man off the mountain. There are 9 more sliders to come then. And I think he's going to be in. I don't see all 9 of them beating him. But then my predictions have been a bit squirrely today. Not a bad exit there. And taking a look here. Got a little left off 7 into 8 and then drops into 9 down into that little fall away. 24th last year, did not make the cut. I keep saying last year, it was only January this year, last season. Lee Hansen from Korea. Coach Richard Bromley. Kristen back home, who with Richard runs the Bromley Tech team. 471, that's not a bad slide. What can Lee Hansen do here?
Quiet up top, 2,500's down, that's not bad. And, you know, if it's 30, 35 at the next clock, it's, you know, decent.
Well, it all went very wrong for him on the first run down
65
in January. However, he was 11th up until that little mistake. 9 and 10, he comes out in 15th place. 16th position, he's starting to slip into the danger zone. He can hang on in
30 now, way out.
Horrible into Thunderbird.
7 kilometers
all
down.
over the place.
He's 3 or 4 miles an hour down there in the finish.
17th. Okay, that is in the danger zone.
Yeah.
He is in the bottom 4 with 20 sleds down the ice. And we will send 8 home. There are 8 still to come.
That's disappointing. He's a better slider than that.
Yeah. And it all got away at the fastest part of the track. Somin Young of Korea, Martin Stukos, Alexander Treshikov, your top 3. Very tight behind. Tregebov, Parsons, Jung, Gassner. Anton, look at that, how close. Within 100th or 2 of each other. Next up, outside of the top 20 starters, the field is full for Heat 2. So every one of the remaining 8 have to go faster and bump somebody out for a place in the race. Hey, it's a dog-eat-dog world. This is Aussie John Farrow. 15th here in January. It was his best race of the season. He needs to do that again.
Well, it's about to start for John. He's been injured for the last few years. Nice to see him out, but look at that start. He's the 20 out of 21. Mountain bike guy. Boy, that start to... Now he's got to hit a Grand Slam home run here to have a chance. You know, it's tough to do that when you come down the track. You might hit the home run once every 4 or 5 trips down, but that type of start.
Bounces off 6, skids into 9. He's in the race at the moment, 20th start. He was up to 19th on the split out of Leaders Loop. Up to 18th place now.
Yeah, you're showing some experience coming down the track. And the speed, get near 140.
He got 14th place. Good run through Thunderbird.
Give him some credit.
Come on, Farrow across the line in 14th. He is in.
Wow.
And Matthias Guggenberger does not get a second slide. He looks happy with that.
For to have the 20th best start and come down and finish in 14th, that says something about your ability on the high-speed part of the track, because he was bleeding time all the way down. He got down there to Gold Rush. He posted some good speed.
What's up, everyone?
14th run from John Farrow. Drops off 6 here. You see the way that the sled bounced up.
Yeah, but he corrected very well. He did not he didn't go really high up in that curve.
And this is one of the tracks he knows best, and he dealt with that. He knew what was going to happen, and he was ready for it. Let the sled bounce. So next up, Switzerland's Marco Rohrer, 20th last year, so he did make the cut. Needs to push hard to get that again.
Well, you know, Martin, I don't want to jinx him here, but we have not seen any issues with those grooves, except for the first 4 or 5 sleds, which...
Drifting out really close to the left-hand wall, and another brush out of 1. 13th fastest start, but already drifting away, losing speed down to 18th.
See him pull a couple shades there. See how bright it is getting. The sun is out, and
Beautiful morning.
the sun does affect this track quickly.
I tell you what, everybody who's going boarding on the mountains here, 7 feet of fresh powder in the last week. The weather is going to be stunning. Okay, 18th place, he is in the race. It's him or Jack Thomas of Great Britain. At the moment he's in, he's down to 19th. Jack Thomas may survive. This is 20th position, a bump on the wall, he doesn't get one, yes he does.
Coming up, he's got it.
He's in, and Thomas is out. And the gap between them, well, 1700.
1/100th of a second behind Alexander Auer.
So he
and
is
he's
in.
1300ths in front of Jack Thomas.
So Jack Thomas is out of the race and Marco Rohrer is in. But it was close. 13th at the start. Those quads really helped him push away, but he's drifted away. He's definitely in the drop zone now, particularly given the abilities of Christopher Grother, the 24-year-old from Germany. Now, he only did 3 World Cup races last season, best of 5th position on the German tracks. Another former ski jumper. Dirk Matchens, his coach in the yellow jacket, yelling him away from the top. Dirk, one of the original World Cup sliders when skeleton was still in its infancy.
We saw him in the first 3 events last year.
Yep.
7th, 5th, and 5th. And then he must have been injured.
Then he got dropped.
Dropped off.
German reselection at Christmas. He got bounced back down to the Intercontinental Cup, to the second tier of sliding. You don't go home and sit on the sofa, you continue sliding. You just don't see you on TV.
Struggling there. He's hanging in there right now for pace, top 10. We all know what the Germans can do. The women, 2 sleds in the top 3 last night. Spectacular racing from the women's skeleton field last night.
This is on the fringes of the top 10 for Christopher Grothair,
Nice
11th place ahead of Nathan Crumpton.
Nice run.
And right behind last year's silver medalist, Thomas Stukos, 100th behind Stukos.
Yeah, but Thomas Stukos had the 17th best start, so something wrong there with him. But he had the 13th best start and he had the 11th best down time. So that when you improve, when you take your start time and you improve your finish time, you're a good pilot coming down the track.
So Germany's Axel Jung is 6th, Alexander Gassner 7th, and Christopher Grothair 11th. A junior world champion. Well, next up is our second Swiss slider, Ronald Odderset. 22 was his finishing position in January, just missed the cut.
He came in for his headshot, and I couldn't believe the scar that he had on his left collarbone. And I said, where was that? He goes, 2008, the exit of Horseshoe.
Yeah.
I said, you should get a tattoo on that. What a scar.
Yeah, the chicks love a scar, he said. Ronald Odderset, 4:71, 11th fastest start. That gives him the ammunition he needs to make the second heat. Alexander Auer in the drop zone.
He didn't make the cut of this event last year, 22nd place. In fact, his best finish of the year, 19th on his home track in Summeritz.
His teammate Ronald Odderset, I beg your pardon, Marco Rory, just got bumped by Christopher Grothair. So if there is going to be a Swiss slider
Doesn't look good.
No, he's already outside the top 20, and you can hear so much noise. This is basically a 54-second crash. He is scrambling.
A lot of friction. He's only got 131 kilometers. That might be the worst speed we've seen yet. 81 miles an hour.
He was struggling for control every single inch of the way. You could hear all the extra noise, lots and lots and lots of counter steering and toe dragging. He had very little control. So however he set up the bow on the runners aren't straight and flat on the ice. They're like a rocking chair. Very small contact patch.
Okay, this is a crossover 6. Look at that taps before he gets in. Now watch him go to the the middle of the curve. This is 50-50. Look, so you hit that takeoff, throws you into the middle, and on the outlet, you're struggling to get off. You don't want to get off on the curve's terms.
Best of the season for Joe Cecchini.
He's got no bib
here.
Here.
He hasn't got a start
No
bib
start
on.
bib on.
So he will be disqualified. He was 16th last year, and nobody has pointed out.
Can't believe it.
Now you see the jury member at the top has spotted it.
Can't believe they didn't say it to him.
For the Calgary Cop, well, often you'll see the athlete drops the jacket, is so focused on the track, the coach will point it out, and they'll try and run back in the changing room and find it.
He didn't know. He has no clue. He didn't have an clue. He didn't have the bib on.
Doesn't have a coach. And nobody to tell it with him there on the ice.
Too bad. Joe says he's a lot healthier than he was last year when he was fighting some leg injuries most of the season.
And a lot quicker as well. This is a 12th best run. This is going to be utterly
he's going to have no points. He's going to get no points out of this race, which is devastating.
Well, let's pick the bones out of this, because this is a good-looking slide from the Calgary policeman.
This is one of her better runs for him.
15th place. Oh, a little wild into Thunderbird. And he is going to be utterly crushed when he realizes
no bib, you guys.
He does not have a bib on.
Yeah, well.
17th place at the line with a 54.08. That would be enough to make the race, but he will not get a second slide. Now, does he even know now? Yes, he does. He can't believe it. He cannot believe it.
Well, there's some responsibility on the coach. He doesn't have a coach, but still, someone should have, Where was your bib? Someone must have told him.
In the changing room
Well,
somewhere. And
somebody-
you know, they're not going to let him go out deliberately to get disqualified. It's not like that.
Here comes
You make the race on your own speed.
Athlete
here's
from Sweden.
Yeah, Rasmus Ottosson. His only World Cup start was here last year. In fact, he was due to be here last year in January, and his sled didn't arrive. So this is his actual debut, I think I'm right in saying.
Our only athlete from the Nordic countries.
Oh no, he did race in, no he did race, he was 21st, his sled arrived, his sled didn't arrive, he borrowed one, that's correct. There was a whole load of sleds went missing.
Not a very good start, 26th best start, so.
So his coach is Dave Swift, the previous British slider, retired at the end of the season to start coaching.
Feet apart there, struggle.
And Rasmus really only 2 or 3 years into the sport, still learning. 26th at the start, up to 23rd. The man in 20th at the moment is Lee Hansen.
Watch out here, watch out here.
Big hit, and there goes his hope of making the race. Oh,
28!
no! He beats Lee by 1/100th of a second.
Wow.
And there's
Good
only
speed.
2 more sleds
Look
to
at this,
come.
86.2 miles an hour on the finish. And that bump cost him dearly, because he came up that.
Well, we're going to find out in a minute how much it might have cost him, because our last slider is a Canadian.
Yeah, I gotta believe.
And that might be dangerous for Rasmus
Well, the Russian
Ottosson.
too. The Russian coming up too.
Yeah, Vasilov's not been
No,
here before, though.
In Thunderbird, you do not want to go disappearing act.
Well, it's not the danger in the corner.
It's
what
right there.
happens when you come out
Oh,
late.
that's a big hit. But boy, you kept it pretty straight. Toe came out, but he kept it pretty straight.
Well, Rasmus is in the race at the moment. 2 to go. This is Igor Veselov of Russia. A World Cup debut for him. Will he make the race?
Not a very good start. Usually the Russians have that explosive start.
We've never seen Veselov racing on camera before, so he is completely new to us. 19th start, he's up to 18th place.
You can see the shades are starting to come down. I mean, it's bright out here. Affects the athletes. They sort of go from a bright to a shaded area. You know, your eye doesn't pick that up that well at 80 miles an hour.
And now we're finding out why he's in the team. 14th place on the splits.
He's continuing to
13th place on the
speed.
splits.
He could get 142 kilometers down
This
here.
might end up being a top 10
138
run.
now.
14th, 15th at the line. He comes across in 14th place, and that is the end of the race for Rasmus Ottosson. One more sled to come. Rhys Thornberry of New Zealand lies 20th. He's either in, or Kevin Boyer of Canada will make the race. So Igor Veselov, welcome to the World Cup. He makes his first World Cup second heat.
Well, you can see he doesn't have a good start, but obviously why they selected him is he knows how to fly down the track.
19th best start, but 14th down the ice. Well, maybe that was a little nervy tightness at the beginning. We'll find out in our second heat. Our final slider, 28th on the ice, another World Cup debutant from Sherwood Park, Edmonton, Alberta. This is young Kevin Boyer. He has never been to Whistler in his life.
Look at that helmet.
Look at that helmet. Fantastic.
You know, he's from Edmonton. His favorite hockey player, Connor McDavid. So, I mean, that's a given.
He played hockey. He was a basketball and baseball player as well. And went to driving school with Barrett Martineau, his teammate, this weekend.
Freelance journalist by trade.
7th fastest start. He is 9th at the moment.
He's got good form so far, the feet.
Intermediate of 7:30.
11th position. Don't forget, he has never been to Whistler before last week, so he raced in the North America's Cup and now in World Cup.
Holding on.
16th position. This might get close between him and
Ooh, watch out. That was a rough transition. Gonna need 137. He's got that. Gonna be close.
He's in the race.
Ooh, hard hit.
Thornberry is out. 19th. Wow. Kyle Tress survives. Rhys Thornberry goes home. And Kevin Boyer makes the race. So a little ripple of applause and lots of support from the Canadian coaches and Canadian athletes up at the top of the track. That's a great helmet.
We agree. We like it.
Yeah, love that. Didn't see that helmet in training. Didn't see them train. Didn't see him train anyway. So there's Kevin Boyer of Canada. Wearing the gum shield as your head gets rattled around. So our race is tight at the top. 600ths of a second separating last year's winner on this track, Martin Stukos, from the man who was right behind him, Sunbin Jung of Korea.
Korea, Latvia, Russia.
Yeah.
It used to be Austria, Switzerland, and Germany. What happened to that?
That was a decade and 15 years ago.
5 years ago.
No.
Well, the Latvians, yeah, so Stukos, but still.
So look at that, 600s for gold. Can Tretyakov threaten, or will he have to fight off the pack behind? Because Chegibov, Parsons, Jung, Gassner, it's all very close down to 8th position. Matt Antoine almost could challenge for 3rd or 4th from 4/10 back as well. And behind, a couple of dead heats down the ice. We've got a tie for 14th and a Mirambel. Maybe on target for a career best. The first man on ice probably felt horrible at the end of his run, but he's in and unfortunately out. Our 28 other sliders. Now then, we are, hang on a minute, what are we not seeing? Because we've got 28 in the finishing order. On our timing screen, Joe Cecchini has been disqualified, but he was still shown there with his time. Unfortunately, the Italian will not compete in the second heat because he didn't have a start bib on. So, catch up with all the second heat action coming up shortly here on the track at 11:30 local time. Adjust that to your clock. See whether Sunbin Jung of Korea can claim the first gold medal of the season.